Is a Shedeur Sanders trade really possible? Really in the works? We have new rumors that just came out today on this concept. Can you believe it? Folks, you're watching the Browns Report presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Joey O'Donoghue, and I want your opinion before I give you this new report. Do you think the Browns should be exploring this? Should Cleveland trade Shedeur? If you think they should, type Y for yes in the comments section. If you're like, no way, no how, type N for no down below. Let me know your opinion before we start today's show. Y for yes, N for no in the comments section. So the report from ESPN Cleveland says that, quote, there are talks and ongoing calls about the availability of Shedeur Sanders. That is Tony Rizzo, who has his antenna up about the Browns quarterback situation right now. The direct quote from Tony Rizzo reads as this. For the record, I don't think 4 quarterbacks are going to camp on July 28th. I don't. Nothing is imminent, but the calls are being made, and I think it's in the best interest of both parties. Now, you could say what you want about, Rizzo being a source. I get it. He's a radio host. But I will say, when he has put out a couple different things that he's been hearing this season, some of them hit. Like, he had that Gabriel was starting the day before. He also said that the Garrett trade, someone texted him it was a done deal, and then it happened the day, like later that day. So now he's saying he's heard there are calls about Shedeur. And I do think there's a possibility. Okay, this is not saying it's a done deal. This is not saying Shedeur's getting traded. He's saying there are calls about, hey, is Shedeur available? And that means other executives are looking at the situation thinking, hey, are the Browns about to trade Shedeur? They did the same thing with Miles. Teams called. They're like, when they restructured his contract, like, are you guys trading Myles Garrett? It kind of has that similar vibe on a smaller scale, maybe a bigger media scale, though, when you put it all together. So the fact that those calls are coming in, if you're someone that wants Shedeur to stay on this team, is a little scary. That this could be something that develops depending on how the offseason quarterback battle finishes and Shedeur's reaction to it. The idea being that the Browns are likely going to start Deshaun Watson. We had a report earlier today where Chad Ochocinco, of all people, said he's hearing that the Browns are going to go with Watson. Also, Shedeur does not want to be the backup. Regardless of what is said publicly, he wants to be the starter. Okay, if you know him, you know that's his goal. And the backlash will be a lot for the Cleveland Browns. Okay, to start Deshaun Watson and bench Shedeur Sanders, the reaction is going to be explosive from the Browns fans, and so maybe they do move him for a draft pick. That's at least why the rumors are coming up now from both ESPN's Jeremy Fowler and now Tony Rizzo of ESPN Cleveland. The Browns also could be, stirring up his trade value a bit by saying how great he's looking, saying he's in this quarterback competition. But if all the insiders are saying, oh, Watson's going to start, and the Browns are like, no, it's a competition, Shedeur's right there, you could at least speculate they are bringing up his value. I mentioned Jeremy Fowler was someone that reported something like this as well recently, or at least floated the idea. He's an ESPN NFL insider, and he said, you have the Shedeur Sanders factor, where if he doesn't go get the job, is he the right backup for your team? I don't know the answer to that. If Shedeur were to lose the job, it would be interesting to see how he handles that. If the Browns feel like there's some tension there, maybe they do try to facilitate a trade. And he said it's not going to be a Deshaun Watson trade. It's not going to be a Taylor Green trade. It's impossible to move Watson right now. And Taylor Green is such a project. It was a 6th rounder. He's not getting value for Green either right now. So, and Monken actually wants to explore that project. So that means either Shedeur or Gabriel's out if this comes to fruition. I will say, though, I do think Shedeur would handle it fine if he was named quarterback 2 this year. I think he would still get an opportunity, and I don't think that's necessarily the reason why a trade would blow up all of a sudden. It's more about the Cleveland Browns, okay, how they feel. One, can you handle the backlash? 2, do you want 4 quarterbacks still going in? It's about the Browns. It's not really about Shedeur throwing a fit. I think that's a wrong way to put these rumors. But coming up, Where would Shedeur go? How likely is a trade? A couple more rumors on that. And is this a good idea? I'll give you my take in just a moment. But let's give a shout out to our good friends over at Prize Picks before we do that. Prize Picks is the place to go if you love daily fantasy sports. Player picks on fire right now. And there's no better place to cash in while watching sports than with Prize Picks. Guys, the app is really easy to use. You just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. And if you have the with the social feeds feature, you can follow your friends right there on the lineup. That includes my lineups, my username JoeyOD1. Check out what I've got cooking up for today. Messi scored again, so actually I'm looking pretty good. I just need Mbappe and Haaland to score goals once more in that major soccer tournament. Prize Picks has made it so much more fun for me. Like, I'm really locked in on all these games now and trying to win some money. You can do the same thing, and if you're a new user, download the Prize Picks app today. Use code HMA, and you'll get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. The link is in the comment section and description of today's video. That is code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. So question number one. Which team would trade for Shedeur Sanders? Who's calling right now? All right. Report is that we're getting calls. Who's doing that? Well, I have a list that's a little bit later in the show, but I do wonder, what team would be interested when you consider the facts that every team passed on Shedeur for multiple rounds in the NFL draft. If anybody wanted Shedeur for a 5th-round pick or higher, they could have had him. Also, from the perspective of, Shedeur doesn't want to be a backup, well, he'd have to enter a quarterback battle wherever he went. Every team has some sort of a plan for QB1 right now. And to the other point that fans would be outraged if the Browns don't start Shedeur, they'd be outraged even more so if they trade Shedeur and run with Watson for the whole year. Also, what value are you getting for Shedeur? When you take all of that into account, the idea that teams are passing on him, is it a 5th-round pick, right? At that point, this makes no sense for the Browns at all. Why are we just giving him away? He's a guy that you think, the Cleveland Browns, could be your starting quarterback this year. You're just going to trade him for a low draft pick when he's young, when he's developing? Makes no sense. So teams are not going to pay a premium for Shedeur right now. Okay, if they wanted him for higher than a 5th, they could have drafted him. So they're not trading for him in that sense. You'd be giving him away for little to nothing. How does that make sense for the Browns? How does that help the Browns? And people could say whatever they want about Shedeur. I read the comments sometimes. A lot of people disagree with me for thinking that Shedeur has upside. I don't know how you could disagree with that if you watched last season. He has upside. He won 3 times as many games as the other 2 quarterbacks last year. I'm talking about Gabriel and Flacco. Okay, the rookie drafted before him, and the veteran that's been around for years. And Shedeur went out there, won 3 games. Those 2 won 1. More deep shots, explosive plays than we'd seen all year in that awful Browns system and supporting cast. So what are we doing? Why is this a conversation to trade Shedeur for a late pick? Doesn't make sense to me. Also, you got to think of the future of the Cleveland Browns quarterback room. Watson's got 1 year left on his deal. He's not in the Browns' future plans, and Gabriel sucks. So what are we doing at that point then? Next year's quarterback room, assuming Watson doesn't re-sign with the Browns, is Gabriel, Taylor Green, and a rookie? You have to think about the future as well. Does not make sense to trade Shedeur Sanders. These points are coming up because of if he's not the starter, would the Browns move him so it's not a loud distraction? You can speculate if you want in that sense. I think it's a dumb idea from Cleveland's perspective to move him for a late draft pick. But I want to know in the comment section, what do you think the value is? What would the Browns get in a Shedeur Sanders trade? Comment down below your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know if you've got the answer to this, the value in a Shedeur Sanders trade for the Browns. Now, I do think that there's some teams, especially after some new developments, that maybe are the ones calling about Shedeur Sanders, right? So the report is teams are calling. Who are those teams? Who's calling? I think the Arizona Cardinals are a team to look out for in that sense, okay? If you don't know what's going on with the Cardinals quarterback situation, quick update for you. Their starter, Jacoby Brissett, that's who they want to start, was not present at the first practice of voluntary OTAs, and Ian Rappaport says the quarterback is staying away as he seeks a raise for 2026. That's right, folks. You're getting a Jacoby Brissett holdout in the 2026 year. Basically, he's who they want to start, but he is holding out for a raise. Obviously, the Cardinals are going to be terrible next year. They're going to be drafting high. They'll probably draft the quarterback really high, so they're not trying to pay Jacoby Brissett. Shedeur, you would think, would start for that team if Brissett's not going. It's Gardner Minshew and Carson Beck. Okay, it's not even close. I'd take Shedeur over those two, especially Carson Beck. I mean, what are we talking about? So, yeah, if they don't pay Brissett, that's a realistic place where he would start right away. Okay? And update on that, the Cardinals and Brissett are significantly far apart in their negotiations. Okay, according to ESPN's Cardinals beat reporter Josh Weinfuss. So look out for them. Also, Arizona has nothing to lose next year. Like I said, they're going to be bad. So think about it from that sense. Okay, next destination. What about the New York Jets? Here's another team. I'd think of all the teams I'm going to list, these are the two Shedeur might actually get to play. Now, the Jets did bring in Geno Smith, but would you believe we've got a Geno Smith update for you on today's show? Check out this Instagram story where Geno Smith is getting accused of assault because he hates taking care of kids. I mean, you could read it on your screen. This is an Instagram story from a woman involved with Geno, an IG model. I'm not entirely sure. It's not his wife. And basically what had happened, according to Heavy.com here, is during the recording, the woman could be heard making additional accusations, sounding visibly emotional outside of Smith's residence. Smith can also be heard in the video saying she just called the police while apparently speaking on the phone. She also recorded and posted a video where Smith was talking to multiple police officers, and at this time, there have been no publicly confirmed details regarding the alleged incident. No police reports, arrests, charges, or official statements have been released. The allegations remain unverified, and Smith has not publicly responded to the claims. And so, if this thing blows up, the Jets are going to need a quarterback, okay? If Geno's not starting, they have the most disgusting-looking quarterback room in the National Football League. I mean, Christ, look at this thing. It's Bailey Zappi, Brady Cook, who was the worst quarterback we've ever seen, and a late-round rookie, Cade Klubnik. Without Geno, Shedeur starts there too, okay? So those are two teams I would look for, especially as we get closer to the season, and we know what's happening with Brissett and Geno that Shedeur could realistically go to, and Browns would get value for. More destinations coming up, but I want to let you know today's show is made possible by SeatGeek. When it's time to get out of the house, there's not many better options right now than a sporting event. Use code CHAT10 to get 10% off your next set of tickets. MLB is in full swing, NFL schedule is out, and you can now get World Cup tickets on SeatGeek. This could be a once-in-a-lifetime experience to go to a World Cup game while it is in America. For me, though, I'm looking at those Browns home games. They have 8 home games this season, and I want to watch this new offense take the field. Hopefully it's Shedeur, but it will be our new head coach drawing up plays for healthy Quinshon Judkins, 2 rookie wide receivers, Boston and Concepcion. That's going to bring a lot of fun to Cleveland. And SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. And, of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use code CHAT10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That is 10% off any tickets with promo code CHAT10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. All right, some people are going to laugh at this one, but I put the Atlanta Falcons on there. Kevin Stefanski connection? Maybe he did like Shedeur after all this time, and he's the one calling to try and get him in Atlanta to prove a point. I'll tell you what, they're a quarterback-needy team. I do not think that's going to happen, but hopefully you got a good chuckle about Stefanski's Falcons being on the list. What about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though? This is an interesting one. You talk about teams that are going to need a quarterback in 2 years. Shedeur might fit that timeline if he's going to sit this year behind a guy like Baker Mayfield, which would also be ironic for the Browns fans. But But essentially what's going on in Tampa is Baker said that contract talks for an extension are, quote, nowhere close, not where you would want them to be at all. And so if the Bucs don't want to pay Baker past this year, maybe they're going to trade for Shedeur, try to get a starter for 2028 since they won't have, a top 5 draft pick, let's say, in next year's draft. The last team I'm going to list as the destination is the Dallas Cowboys. You know why I'm putting the Dallas Cowboys on here. First of all, Jerry Jones. Are you kidding me? He's basically like Jimmy Haslam, but richer and more famous. Like Jerry Jones just loves to make the headlines, loves to make the big splash. That's Shedeur Sanders. Also, Shedeur's home is in Dallas, if you didn't know. Grew up there with Father Dion. Now, this might be in a couple years, though, if he was a Cowboy, right? They've got Dak. They believe in Dak. They paid Dak a whole heck of a lot of money. So it's not be something like in right now. But in a few years, Sanders is a Dallas Cowboy. I'm not going to be shocked. So I'm putting them as the final team on the list, guys. Let me know in the comment section if you have a thought. What team would trade for Shedeur Sanders? Get one in the comment section down below. And I appreciate you guys so much for tuning into this show. Crazy new rumor that came out today. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you love the Cleveland Browns and want to stay up to date on everything Cleveland Browns, daily news and rumors videos coming your way for this football team. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.